my final review of my BFGoodrich KO2s. Cracks, there's chips out of them, there's
road noise, great. Handling, great. Off-road ability, great. Wear, 10. Great!
G'day, I'm Peter from Team Low Range 4x4, and today I'm talking about my brand new set of tyres, the BFGoodrich KM3s. That's right, the KM3s. Of course, you already knew that because you clicked on this video. I'm going to give you a bit of an insight into the first 24 hours and 160 Ks that I've already done on these tyres. So, without further ado, let's get straight into it. So, what can be really answered by the question of 24 hours of ownership? Well, luckily for you, I'm a big commuter, and in the past 24 hours I've racked up not only wet driving at night and day driving, both on highway, both in really different conditions, and a grand total of around 160 Ks. So I wasn't going to do initial impressions because you really want to have a time to adjust to the tyres. But since the KO2s are so fresh in my mind, there is one thing I want to bring up, and it's noise. You see the pattern on these tyres are not the greatest for sound. I noticed that they're actually slightly louder than my pretty much bald KO2s. Now the manufacturer basically specifies that all the KM3s, all of them, whatever dimensions you choose, have a grand total loudness, or a maximum, or however you want to view it, decibel rating of 76 decibels. So 76 decibels, what is that? It's the same as mowing your lawn, decibel wise. So that's basically what you're going to expect from these tyres. Now that is the manufacturer's best try at achieving the lowest possible decibels, so expect it to be a bit higher. Now I thought, since I was doing a bit of driving at night in the wet weather, that I was just sort of hearing things. I thought my mind was playing tricks on me when I was listening to the acoustics of these tyres. However, I did a return journey in the dry, and I turned the radio off, the aircon off, I had the windows up just to see what it would sound like, and there was definitely a different acoustic sound. I reckon if you're really worried about noise, mud terrain is probably not the first thing on your list. The KO2s are definitely a quiet tyre. Definitely a quieter tyre. Yes. So, is there anything else I should mention about the KM3s that I've initially thought of? Well, I tell you what, my initial impressions in the wet, apart from the slight acoustics that they have, is they're actually really good. And I was a little worried because a previous commenter on a previous video, and by the way, I will link in the description below all my KO2 reviews, because I feel that if you want to get a gauge of is an all-terrain for you, or is something like a mud terrain that I've just jumped into for you, that will give you an idea. But a previous commenter, as I will get back on track, had mentioned that they're probably not great in the wet, and I haven't seen that. Now, of course, they're brand spanking new. It's been 24 hours, so perhaps that might change. But on the dirt, gravel sections that I've come down here, as you can see, I'm out in the bush at the moment, I didn't find fantastic. I would say they were better than the KO2s. Better than the KO2s on this kind of terrain. The whole reason you buy a mud terrain tyre is because you want performance in those slippery, unpredictable, sometimes unpredictable conditions. And that is what I've been venturing a little bit into recently. As you can tell, a few videos ago, of course, Muddy Mayhem, which I will also link in the description below. I possibly would have had a little bit more luck, though I didn't get stuck, I might add, on the KO2s. I probably would have been able to churn away a little bit more, get a little bit more traction in those need-be areas with the KM3s. And of course, that's what a mud terrain is all about. And that's what I'm hoping to find out all about myself very, very soon. What else can I talk about with the KM3s? PSI, pounds per square inch. That is the next thing you need to be aware of. You've got to run a higher PSI on these tyres. And what is the comparison? Well, of course, with the highway terrain tyres that I had, the recommended PSI from the manufacturer was 29. Wow, 29. Of course, moving to the KO2s, the recommended PSI for those were 38. And guess, anybody, what you reckon that the mud terrains need to run at? Well, the manufacturer does specify 49 PSI. However, based on the weight of my vehicle, which you think was pretty stock, but yeah, the weight of the bull bar and the winch and the bash plating and all that stuff does add up. So the recommended is just one whole PSI. Yes, one whole PSI of 50. So I've been told for even wear, I've got to 50 PSI it. And that is what I'm going to be endeavoring to do. And of course, with my initial impressions that you're getting today, I'm going to do possibly a 2-week gap. I'm going to get familiar with the tyres. I'm going to definitely do some off-roading. I've actually talked to a couple of people today, said, hey, I just got some new tyres, let's get out on the tracks. So I should be able to give you a bit more of their off-road performance, as well as more familiarity when it comes to the on-road performance, if you're thinking going down this path of a mud terrain instead of an all-terrain. Of course, this is an experiment and I'm enjoying it, but there is one more thing I want to add. And that is that I paid for these tyres myself. I did talk to a couple of the representatives at the Sydney 4-Wheel Driving and Adventure Show. I never mentioned that I ran a small YouTube channel that I am desperately trying to grow, so don't forget to. And I'm good. Yes, thank you for everybody who has jumped on board. I really do appreciate it. It gives me the inspiration to continue making these videos and hopefully dive into even more interesting and dynamic stuff. I'm not sponsored by BFGoodrich in any way. Of course, I've just run the KO2s and now the KM3s, but that has nothing to do with sponsorship or any support from them. It's simply the fact that I had a great experience with the KO2s and I really wanted to give their mud terrain, which there are always mixed reviews online about tyres, but I wanted to give an honest opinion. And of course, if I do think they're a great tyre, I'm going to let you know in the future, of course. It's too early now. And of course, if they're not so great in certain areas, like I don't appreciate the acoustics so far, maybe that will grow on me. Maybe I'm just being a bit too dramatic about it. I do not know. But let's watch this space. Okay, I'm Peter from Team Low Range 4x4. Don't forget to, that's right, thank you again. And I will catch you in the next video, if not the tracks.